Welcome to Long COVID Radical Self-Care, where I provide simple, non-medical tips and tools to help you on your healing journey. Today I want to talk about one of the possible side effects of long COVID that very few people are talking about: financial stress. Long COVID can impact pretty much every aspect of your life: your activities, your relationships, your career, and your financial situation. Many thousands of people with long COVID have found themselves unable to work or working less because of the physical or cognitive symptoms, or both. Some people may be getting disability payments, but many are not. Many are having to fight for benefits. Unfortunately, stress, including financial stress, slows the healing process. Here's why. If you feel your financial security is at risk, if, for example, you're worried about paying your rent or mortgage, it creates a stress response in your body, commonly referred to as the fight or flight response. Stress activates the same primitive part of the brain that would activate if you were being chased by a tiger. That primitive part of the brain doesn't know the difference between surviving a tiger encounter and surviving a financial blow. It just knows you're stressed and responds as if your life is in danger. It channels all of your energy to your short-term survival. Your senses are hyper alert, your heart is racing, your limbs are prepared to fight or run. In this state, your brain won't dedicate physical or mental resources to healing. It'll work on that after the tiger is dealt with. The problem is that a tiger encounter only lasts a few minutes, so your mind is in the fight or flight state for only a few minutes before returning to normal. But financial strain can last months and leave you in that high stress state for far too long. While you're preoccupied with survival, your physical and mental resources are not being channeled to healing. So knowing that stress is going to slow your healing, you want to do everything you can to minimize the amount of time you spend in a stressed state and maximize the amount of time you spend in a happier, relaxed emotional state. That will promote healing. The goal is to squeeze the negative and expand the positive in your life. So today I want to talk about some practical things you can do to reduce the amount of time you spend in stress state. I also want to share some metaphysics-based suggestions, including what you might know as the law of attraction, that can help attract more prosperity into your life. The best part is that applying these strategies will feel good. Changing your routines in this way will bring more joy and lightness to your days. Sound good? When it comes to your finances, turning things around means doing whatever you can to not dwell on what you don't have. Of course, you have practical financial matters that need to be addressed. That's fine. Set aside dedicated time to take care of them and try to take care of all the unfun stuff at once. If you have some financial decisions to make or you need to call the bank, that's fine. Do it or schedule it and then shift your attention to something more positive. Don't ruminate about financial trouble for hours or days. Don't wallow in your fears and feed your worst case scenario. When you're experiencing financial lack, it's easy to worry, but it's unproductive. It's not going to help your finances or your health. You can make a choice to worry less. You need to pay your bills, of course, but if paying your bills upsets you, put them aside when they come in and pick 1 or 2 days per month when you pay them all. I keep my bills in a folder in a room I don't go into too often, and I put a reminder in my phone to pay them on the 15th and the end of each month. Don't leave them lying around where you'll feel bad every time you see them. Schedule certain times and days to deal with all your financial matters and make an effort to avoid thinking about them the rest of the time. Now, I do want to acknowledge here that the emotional toll of financial stress is very real. It can be a serious burden. And since discussing personal finances is a taboo topic in a lot of circles, it's often a burden people carry alone. I want to honor what you're going through. If that stress has been building up for a while now and you've been trying to put on a brave face, you may need to allow some of that stress to move through you and release some of the pent-up emotion by screaming into a pillow or something. A good cry can be a healthy release and leave you feeling better. You have every right to have a pity party once in a while. Just don't live there. Work with a therapist if the feelings seem too big to manage on your own or last too long. You may be feeling pretty bad about the state you're in physically and financially, but remember, you are not your bank balance. Your worth is not dictated by the amount of money you have or how much you earn. You are so much more than your bank balance or your current circumstances. Money itself has no real value except the value we give it. Paper money is just paper. A $100 bill is just a piece of paper costing the same to manufacture as a $1 bill. The value is in what we can buy with it, and more specifically, the feeling we get from what we buy with it. You may buy your first home for a feeling of security. You buy a vacation for the feeling of fun. You buy a car to enjoy the freedom to go where you want, when you want. No more waiting for buses. I've been studying abundance and the power of attraction for decades. I've immersed myself in the teachings of some of the greats: Anthony Robbins, Louise Hay, Catherine Ponder, Abraham Hicks, Lynn Twist, and many, many others. More recently, I'm loving Lewis Howes. His videos on YouTube are terrific, and he has some great guests. While I don't claim to have prosperity mastered, I will say that every time I've been knocked down financially, I've used it as an opportunity to grow, and I've always risen above my previous high in terms of income, general abundance, and happiness. In other words, I always ended up better off for having been through the challenge. I lost a home I loved and ended up in one that was much nicer a few years later. I lost a business and ended up with a far more successful business years later. Letting go of something or someone we love is never easy, but when we understand that it's the path to better things, it's a little easier. Speaking of letting go, one of the best ways to make room for more prosperity is to let go of some of the stuff you already have. Releasing physical clutter also releases mental and emotional clutter. Metaphysical author and minister Catherine Ponder advises people with financial problems to clean their closets. She has all kinds of anecdotes of people finding cash or old bank books they've forgotten about, or getting calls about unexpected inheritances when they start clearing out their space. Now, if you're dealing with long COVID, I realize that you may not have a lot of energy for clearing. You may need to ask for some help, and definitely you should pace yourself. Even cleaning out one drawer a day will start to change the energy. Decide what you can throw away, sell, or donate. Surround yourself with things you love and use all the time, and get rid of a lot of the rest. Having your space clear will help you feel lighter. It'll also make your place easier to clean. Releasing stuff makes room for new and better things to come into your life. Try it and let me know in the comments below how it works for you. I'll continue with some more tips for attracting prosperity next week, so be sure to tune in. In the meantime, here are some reminders for reducing the impact of financial stress. 1. Set aside dedicated time to deal with financial matters. 2. Keep negative triggers like bills out of sight until it's time to deal with them. 3. Acknowledge and release the pent-up stress. Seek professional support if you need it. And 4. Clear your clutter. Discard, sell, or give away stuff to make room for new and better things to come into your life. Thanks for joining me. If you know someone who might benefit from this information, please share this video. If you liked this episode, please take a second to click the like button below and subscribe. It's free. I'll see you again next week. Until then, be kind to yourself and each other.